All right, good morning, friends. Today, our story is called Dax and the Axe. It is a sad story, be forewarned. This is an old story, I should mind you. Older than the roads. So old, when it happened, there weren't even books made. It first got passed down orally, word of mouth to word of mouth, for hundreds of years, some say thousands. Time was harder to tell back then. Well, once there was a boy. His name was Dax. And Dax lost his family when he was very young. And he was raised by strangers. And they did the best they could, but Dax was always alone. Well, when Dax became a man, in those days you became a man when you were quite young, 13, 14. And he had to go out in the world and find a way to provide for himself, for he knew he couldn't count on anyone, really. Dax went deep into a forest. And this is no ordinary forest. I mean, you think you know what forests are. You've been in a forest. You ain't been in a forest like this. This is one of the old forests. It went for hundreds, thousands of miles. It was said if you got lost in it, people spent their whole lives trying to get out. Never made their way. And that there were some creatures in there that defied description. And those accounts that we do have, people have trouble believing. Dax went into the forest. And this was back in the day when the trees still talked to humans. For you know how in the old stories, like, animals talked, right? And they don't really talk these days. Well, even longer ago, the trees and the plants talked to humans. And so another name for the story is the day that trees stopped talking to humans. Well, Dax went into the forest, and he asked one of the tall trees, these things are giant trees. This is before trees, well, you'll see. It was a big tree. And he went to the mighty tree. And he said, "Good tree, would you give me one of your branches?" And the tree said, "Oh, well." And the tree had many branches, right? And so the tree said, "Sure." And he broke off a branch about yay long, right? And gave it to Dax. A gift freely given. Now, no one's been given a branch from a tree in thousands of years. The way we have to break them, we have to cut them, we got to wait for it to die, right? But it was said, long, long ago, that a branch freely given to a person or a creature was 5 times stronger than steel and as light as plastic or some medium grade. I forget exactly what they referred it to. And so this branch was no ordinary branch, for it had been freely given from the tree as a gift. It was stronger than one would think. And Dax took that branch, and he left the forest. And you know what he did with that branch? He found a sharp, sharp, sharp rock, and he lashed it. He tied it to the end of the branch until it made a sharp edge. And then he went into the forest. And what do you think he began to do? He began to chop the trees down with the axe that he made. For Dax had made the first axe. Well, what do you think the trees did when they saw Dax starting to chop into their side? They cried out in pain. They said, "Dax, how could you do this? You turn our gift against us. We gave that to you freely of our own will without let or lien. And you would turn its edge against us. Why? Why?" And Dax said, "Well, I gotta make my way in the world. I gotta survive." The trees cried out, but Dax heard them not. For when you're young sometimes, and even sometimes when you're old, you get so focused on something you feel like you need or you deserve or you want, that you ignore all these other instincts, right? All these other voices and the effects of your actions. And so Dax proceeded to chop down the trees in the forest. And in time, he built a mighty business. Eventually, there were just flat stumps. But after that first day, after the trees cried out and saw their own gift given to them freely, They stopped talking to humans. All but a few. There are some who are said to be able to speak the language of the plants and the trees still. But I know of none. And so that is the story of Dax and the Axe. Now, what do you think the moral of the story is?